you lived in the Lebanese Civil War.
Yes.
And what were your lections on?
Okay, well,
Something that you could tell us about Lebanese Civil War.
So I left when I was 11. So I grew up for 11 years in Lebanon.
Okay.
And we left in the first year of the Civil War. And we left under imminent threat of execution. I mean, we had to leave Lebanon. There was no,
like right now.
I mean, if we don't leave now, we're dead. And then my parents kept going back to Lebanon for 4 years, and then they were kidnapped by Fatah.
Wow.
But we were luckily able to rescue them. And since nobody's been. So since 1980, nobody from our family has been back to Lebanon. I've been invited to go back to Lebanon, but I feel it's a bit too dangerous.
As a Jewish.
And first because I'm Jewish, but secondly also because I speak about a lot of issues in the Middle East that if somebody did a Google search and didn't like what I said, it could be very dangerous. Unfortunately.
Could you tell us about some of those things that you say?
Well, I talk about the dangers of religious fundamentalism.
Okay.
And I recognize the fact that not all religions are equal in their ability to create violence. And of course, that's not a politically correct thing to say. So a lot of people get very scared about that. And so to go back to the Middle East and saying those words might be difficult.
I basically apply biology and evolutionary psychology to study consumer behavior. What are the biological forces that make us the consumers that we are?
How do you feel that from American culture in Mexico, in some countries like Mexico and the rest of the world?
Sorry, I didn't understand the question.
How do you feel, how do you see that called American culture and art?
The art culture in Mexico? I'm not very familiar with that particular.
Nothing?
I mean, of course, I love some of the architecture here, but that's not really my area of expertise, so I can't really comment on it. I can tell you about why Mexican food is spicier than Swedish food. You want to hear about this?
No.
Yes? So one of the things that I talk about in the talk is that different cultures use more or less spices as a function of how hot the country is. In hotter climates, there are more food pathogens, and spices kill food pathogens. This is why in a place like Mexico, you have a lot more spicy food than a place like Germany or Sweden.
What do you think about the nature? Do you think it's inherently good?
It's what?
Inherently good, I mean, good nature.
Good nature. Yes, I think we're a combination of both. We have the capacity to cooperate, to love, to be altruistic. That's something that evolution study. But we also have the capacity to be brutish, to be competitive, mean-spirited. So I think both are part of our metaphor.
You have found a lot of generalities in the basic art. But have you ever lo que pasa con traducción simultánea no escucha bien el...
Como que no traduce. No se oye.
Have you ever studied the deceptions in this... Deception of like woman who like not the tall priest, but the short dwarf, or men who like fat girls, and that's a new target in marketing now that we have access to birth through the internet.
So many of the phenomena that I study are exactly like you said, they're universal. They apply at a population level, right? Men are taller than women, even though you can find a woman who's taller than a man. So what you're basically saying is that there are niche markets. That's true. But as an evolutionary psychologist, I look for things that are universal, that transcend cultures, that are the same across cultures. See what I mean? So for example, beauty, there are certain beauty metrics that are exactly the same around every culture. Facial symmetry. If you have a facially symmetric face, you're judged beautiful whether it's in Mexico or Nigeria or Japan. So these are usually the types of things I study. Although of course for every rule there's an exception.
I read in the biography that you come from Lebanon. What do you think about the Middle East?
Okay, sure. Well, I think the Middle East, regrettably, is very tribal. It's a very tribal mentality. Everything is viewed through the person of religion, and as long as you have these religious conflicts, there will never be peace. Because people are unable to look at their shared humanity, rather they look at everything as us versus them. And so I'm very pessimistic about the future of the Middle East. That's it.
Which is the most important mistakes that your technologies committing nowadays?
I don't stop that one.
Marketing people, people who make money.
Oh, what are some mistakes that marketers make?
Exactly.
Okay, sorry, I don't understand. I think if you don't have a good understanding of human nature, you'll make mistakes. So I'll give you an example. A few years ago, I don't remember the name of the company, they tried to come up with a line of romance novels where the male hero was not the typical male. He was more sensitive, he was gentle, he was soft, because they wanted to create a new version of the male hero. Well, guess what happened to that product line? It failed. It failed because the women didn't want to read about such a guy. And so if you don't have a good understanding of human nature, you'll create products that people don't want to buy. So I think that's probably the biggest mistake.
So the question is, are there some things in beauty that are culture specific and other things that are universal? You could go to the Yanomamo tribe in the Amazon, right, which is a very primitive culture, and you could show them women of different waist-to-hip ratios. They will all point to the exact same woman as the most beautiful as people here today in this room. In other words, there are some fundamentals of beauty that are absolutely the same, irrespective of the type of culture. Some things are different. For example, in some African cultures, women wear plates. They put plates on their lips. To us, it looks very unattractive. To them, it looks very beautiful. So there are some things that are culture specific. But when it comes to body shapes, when it comes to facial symmetry, when it comes to clear skin, when it comes to testosterone markers for men and estrogen markers for women, those are universal, found in every culture. It's biology.
What do you think about the concept of today's market, the millennial generation, feels much more identified with brands, with campaigns, because they believe, maybe not just the biology.
Because they what?
Believe, you know, the market is saying that the publicity and the agencies are saying, you know what, the millennial generation, they adopt and they are loyal to a brand or a product because they feel identified with them because they believe what they believe in.
I mean, I'm not sure that this is only specific to the millennials. I think building brand loyalty, I think my parents and your parents were probably just as brand loyal as the millennials. So I'm not sure that...
It was more like what would be the biological process in that?
Oh, so the idea of belongingness, right? The fact that you want to belong to a group is very much part of our innate makeup, right? Because part of our thinking is coalition. There's us, there's them. There's the blue team, there's the red team. There's Mexicans, non-Mexicans. There's Christians, non-Christians. And so what brands do is they try to build on this coalitional thinking. You are a part of the tribe of this brand. It's kind of like a religion, right? You even think about brands as being like religion, right? I am an Apple user. I would never use IBM. I'm loyal to the end. And so I think those are the types of mechanisms that marketers use. In the fashion industry, that's exactly what you do, right? Because somebody comes out with a rule that says, this year, the color is green.